Hey guys, Kev here, and I have some rapid reviews to do for you. So I'm wrapping up a couple things, and I want to get them sent out to other people. So this one here is the Gamer Star Studios knife. This is a prototype. I think it's called the R5, or is it the RS? Hold on, I'll grab the package right here. Sorry, GS knives. Oh, Gamer Star Studios GS knives. So I don't even think it has a name. We can double check. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I don't see a name anywhere. It's a cloth, a pouch, a bag with spare hardware. I took these bearings out and put skiffs in because I hate those loose type bearings. Yeah, there's nothing here. So we don't actually have a name for this. And that's okay, because this is a prototype, and this came by way of Get Good Screw. So big shout out to the folks over at Get Good Screw. If you saw the unboxing, I talked about it there, but they are, I believe, going to be the exclusive dealer for this knife brand and this knife. It's in the finalizing stages, I think, of the first run. And he was telling me that it's probably going to get a rebrand. Might get a new name and packaging and stuff. So this is kind of just a preview. So I don't really want to do a review. These are kind of overviews, I guess, whatever you want to call them. But I haven't carried this a ton, and there's a big reason for that. But I just wanted to show it off and talk about it. And then, you know, yeah. And I have a couple other knives. But this is the Gamer Star Studios knife, and it's really cool. I think it's a well-made, good knife. I think it has some things that I believe should be updated if they can be before it goes into full production or finishes production. Not sure how feasible that is. Like I said, I don't know what's going on with it. But let's just talk about aesthetics. I think it looks really good. I've had some people say it looks like a Gavco Tiger or something, the flipper one from CKF. I had some people say, you know, just take the flipper off and put studs on it, and that's a Tiger. I don't get that vibe at all. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I do have the knife in my hand, though, and a lot of times people say stuff like that. Like, for instance, we get comparisons on the Mash to the Richard Rogers Slim Utility or Slut. And I just don't see it. Like, I don't know. Does it have, like, overall silhouette a little bit? Yeah, sure. The Slut's really small. It has a slot, a fuller, not a cutout. I don't know. It's just different. It doesn't have like a grip area like this. To me, it's a completely different animal. But to some people, they think it looks just like it. But maybe having it in hand makes a difference, right? You see the nuance. You feel the knife. I've had Richard Rogers Sluts. I've never compared it to that knife. They're super slim. They're small knives. They have that reverse Tanto-y sort of blade. I don't know. But anyway, I was hearing those comparisons, and I just don't, beyond the harpoon sort of crazy Tanto hump stuff, yeah, sure, I see that. I don't see it. And I've had a Tiger in, so I don't know. That's my 2 cents on that. But I think it's a cool looking knife aesthetically. I don't think it's necessarily my style. Like, I like sheep's foot. I like drop point. I like a spear point sometimes. Not a big fan of these crazy gnarly Tantos like we just had in the Knoll Knives Grace prototype. Similar situation, a little more stretched out here, but similar. Just not my style. I don't know. They are cool though. It's compound grind, hollow, flat, not really thin anywhere, but for EDC it's fine. It cuts really well. It's M390. It is dead nut centered. It rides on the ceramic ball bearings that I swapped out for skiffs, and I showed you the package. They come with these bearings that are like skiff, except they're brass, not phosphor bronze, and the bearings are loose in there, so they can fall out real easy. And yeah, it works. The action was good with those. I just hate that concept. I want my balls. I want my balls to be caged. Giggity. So I just the skiffs fit, so I just put them in. You know, if it fits, I quit. No, whatever. If the glove don't fit, I quit. Sorry, I don't know why that came to mind, but makes no sense here. But yeah, I put skiffs in, and it didn't change the action like in a bad way at all. It's rock solid, and you can see it's drop shut. So there's that, and then it came with a show side pivot that was clean, and that was in that bag I showed earlier too. No tooling, but it's a spinning pivot, and I like to glue my pivots. I like to Loctite my pivots because I want them tight. I don't want them to loosen on me. It's so annoying having to tighten a pivot every 20 minutes because I'm a fidgeter, right? And they provided an extra pivot screw, so I was like, hey, why don't I... And that one came out real easy, so I just swapped it. And now I have tooling on both sides, and I can Loctite it and not have to worry about anything, which is nice. It has these thumb studs, which work fairly well in practice, actually. But they kind of look like doorknobs. And they're kind of ugly to me, and they don't have enough traction. I mean, they're very slick. They're rounded, obviously, so you can slide off them real easy, around them. Yes, if I focus and I just fire, it's not a problem. But, like, why? Why not have some kind of something, jimping, some kind of, you know what I mean, shelving, stepping, something to catch the finger, right? And I also don't love when studs have this kind of knob situation because it leads to the Emerson wave effect kind of happening out of your pocket, which is another critique I have on this knife. So far, if you want to add up the critiques, the pivot being spinning with tooling on one side, not good, but they did include that screw, so they should just use this screw from factory, honestly. And then the thumb studs they just need a redo. I think just doing different studs, more traditional style studs. Let me see if I can find something for you. Here's a knife I really like that has really good studs. The RR Standard from Knife Standards. You got nice stepping right there so it catches your finger. So you don't kind of slip around them, right? You catch on them. And they're low profile, where these are kind of sticking out. Like, they're huge, right? So even though these are lower, I can get a better grip on them. So here's a size comparison if you wanted to see a size comparison. There's the RR Standard. Just grabbing stuff. Here's the Factor from Winterblade. There you go. Little size comparison for you. Oops. All right. So yeah, I have that gripe, the studs, and then my biggest gripe is this pocket clip. It is atrociously two things. It's sharp as hell right here, and it is one tight son of a gun. I thought it was maybe I was wearing thick pants that day that I unboxed it, but no, I've tried it in other pants, thinner pants, and this thing just does not want to go in your pocket. It's a bad clip. That's really the best way for me to put it. It's bad. And then another negative to it is it does have this cool lanyard kind of whole thing going on, but look how shallow the carry is because of that and because of the backspacer situation. You are right about here. You have this much of this knife sticking out of your pants. And that's just too much. I wanted to, give them benefit of the doubt in the unboxing. But after carrying it, it's too much. I need less knife sticking out of my pants. I don't know what you could do because you have this backspacer situation going on. But technically, you should be able to, well, I don't know how the engineering's working there, but you got to back this up. Mount it you can't mount it from the rear because you want to have hidden hardware, yeah. So you're kind of stuck, and that's kind of what happens in a situation like this. You got to move one thing to do another thing, and ultimately the sacrifice on this is the clip being very shallow. So I don't know if you could get rid of that lanyard hole thing and maybe back it up to there. At least have, so then, I mean, if you did that, you'd only have this much. I mean, that's better than this much. So maybe that's worth a shot. I don't know. But those are a few of the things that bug me on the knife. Now, things that are done extremely well. The action is phenomenal. I mean, the D10 on this is perfect for the thumb studs. Perfect for just this knife. It's really perfectly dialed for. I couldn't ask for a better all-around action on this. Detent fires, no problem. Action, drop shut with no play, no rock, no nothing. There's no stick on the lock bar. I just had to clean a little bit of goop off. That was my doing when I oh, that's one other thing, actually. One other little minor nitpick is this thing was covered in this yellow fucking oil from factory. It was literally every flick, it was shooting out of here. And I took it apart and just cleaned everything down, doused it in alcohol, and then, you know, I did my usual lubing where I do the bearings in my fingers and then just put a little bit on the D10 ball. And I still managed to get a little bit on the lock bar and just have to slowly clean it off, clean the tang off. Sorry, not the lock bar, but it transfers. So, the blade, I think, is really well done. I think the finishing is done. You get a nice vertical belt set, and then horizontal here looks really good. The Timascus or the Mokutai looks great on the clip. On the collars, it almost looks like a different piece, and that throws me a little bit. You can see how it's like a darker color almost. Actually, I think it might just be the cut for that piece is off. Is different, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. It just looks a little bit like it doesn't match the clip perfectly, which is the point. But I think that's more just the nature of it. I think that's fine. The finishing on the scales is fantastic. The engineering stuff, the way the backspacer is mounted in there, if you saw my unboxing, you'd see the way you have to unscrew that and the pivot to get it apart because there's no hardware showing except for that pivot is really, really cool. I think that's a great design feature. It's a little heavy, I gotta say. There is milling in there, but you also have this steel liner over here, that backspacer system, and then the clip, you know, and I guess that just adds some weight. But, yeah, the stop pin's good, nice and thick. It's a good stop pin, locks up really good. Don't have any issues there. The liner, it could be nested a little bit more. Like, I normally like it when, let me grab the mash again. I normally like it when you try to hide a little bit more of the lock bar, although, let's see. Yeah, you see, like, there's a little bit more, there's like double the amount of lock bar showing. I just think it's cool when you have a nested liner lock that it's really nested. And the mash even isn't the best example, I'll be honest. So let's look at the Pony Stout you have, right? It just comes to here and then sets in. I guess that's pretty standard. But overall, I mean, that's fine. It's just a tiny, tiny thing. Detail, nitpick. I pointed out dead center. That's important. Full-length backspacer is really nice. Well, mostly. You can kind of get down there because it's got a big enough gap, but it's not bad. But yeah, overall, I think this is a cool knife. So I just wanted to give it another show or another little overview kind of thing. So this is the Gamer Studios knife, GS Studios knife, and more to come on it, I guess. I'm sure they'll update me when, you know, the time comes and all that stuff. So if you're interested in this, just keep your eye on Get Good Screw. They're linked in every one of my videos, and I appreciate them sending this. I'm going to pass this around to some other guys. So the next one here is the Quiet Carry 9. So same thing on this. I'm going to pass this around a little bit to some folks just to let some other reviewers check it out. And I love this knife. So I don't have too much to say on it because I really harped on it in the unboxing. This knife is incredible. They did an absolutely bang-up job. It's called the 9, and it's a 10. It's just a wonderful knife. There's really nothing to complain about for me, really. We could talk about a couple things, and then, but you have a nice micro milled titanium scale that's stone washed. Probably the best production clip on a knife I've seen. Works so well in and out of pocket. Very simple. You could attach a lanyard there if you want as well. You got the Chicago screw here and here. Basically, that's the pivot, obviously. And then that's how you disassemble it. You have another one right here that I guess goes through that backspacer and just into this scale. I don't know how that mounts, but that's pretty cool. They kept this side very clean, which is nice. You have this White Storm fat carbon inlay, which is absolutely gorgeous. You have your 4 little dits for the quiet carry. That's kind of their signature. You have your insert screws right here, over travel stop, all that good stuff. You have a pretty wide gap here. That's something people complain about on some things. Like, we got that on the stout prototypes, and then we adjusted it. So, I don't know. Some people obviously care about how big this gap is. Basically, it just means it was cut with an end mill or whatever. They didn't use wire EDM, which would make it a much smaller cut. It doesn't look very chamfered either, so it's not really because they did a big chamfer. It's just a huge cut. And the more I look at it now, the more it is kind of, a little bit weird, but that stuff doesn't bother me. If you look internally, it's got some cool stuff going on in there. Just take a look. You can see how I guess that's how the scale is mounted in there. Look, there's that little screw down there. So this screw holds in... No, I don't know what the hell that's doing. Just an extra screw holding... What is it holding? I don't even see what it's screwing. It's just screwing into the titanium? I don't know if you can see that screw down there. What is that doing? I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb. But throwing me for a little bit of a loop. You have nice milling in there on this side, none on this side. Oh, yeah, you do. You got a little bit right here internally. But it doesn't feel heavy at all. It is a frame lock, and the action is stupid. Just like the last knife, this detent is dialed exactly the way it needs to be dialed for the knife, and nothing more, nothing less. Left-handed, I can fire it. I just have to climb down a little bit. If I go right here, I can't. But if I just go like down here, it'll fire easy. The ergonomics are really good. Everything is rounded, so it just like perfectly fits your hand and everything. You can choke up here if you'd like. There's no jimping up here, but I don't think it's needed. You have sort of a clip point blade, clip point, drop point, something like that. It's a tall knife. It's not thick in any way or anything, but it's taller, right? Like it's this way, which I like. It makes it super slicey. It's not the thinnest behind the edge. I measured it at, what did I say? 22, 24, but it is damn sharp. CPM 20 CV. An excellent EDC knife. You can hold it in basically any grip, and it's so comfortable. You got your Friday night gas station grip, reverse Friday night gas station grip. You got your just draw cut grip. Everything is just super comfortable because everything's chamfered. Everything's rounded. I mean, look at the butt end of this thing. Just a phenomenal knife. I mean, the action's insane. I mean, you can see here, there's so much room to get your thumb in. Boom. Just fires out with the thumb flick. Boom. Fires out with the reverse flick. Fires out with the lefty thumb. Fires out with the lefty reverse flick. Fan-flippin-tastic. Easy to disengage. Lots of access right in here. Just boop. Zzz, and it drops shut. I mean, it's got incredible action. I mean, this is a knife that I did not even touch in terms of... there's no play or anything. I didn't even think about taking it apart to put bearings in. That's unusual for me. And I'm glad I didn't because, I'm going to loan it out now, and it just makes sense to not mess with it. This was provided to me by Quiet Carry, so I want to make that clear. You take that into consideration. I I believe they're coming out with more in the next month or so, they told me. But the first run did sell out. So, yeah. Actually, I bought it. I bought one. And then they were like, hey, we're just going to they refunded my order and sent it to me. They were like, hey, just, you can check it out for review. And I was like, all right, that's cool. Thank you. So I was going to buy one. I did actually buy one. The centering looks good. I mean, technically, it's great. It's good. That's my brain. Yeah, really good. Can I do the one knife? Maybe I could do it. Maybe push it like this. There's that one knife. What was it? The Artisan Ahab that I could flick with my index finger, like in a weird way. I could like, I don't know what it was. You could like get underneath it and flick it like this. It was pretty cool. But that's Quiet Carry 9, aka the 10. Fabulous knife. What would make it better? Van-X, I guess, if they could get it. And I know some people want to see full tie. I don't care. I'm sure they'll do one that's like full tie knurled or maybe speed holes or something. I hope to see different inlays. If they did like an 80s camo carbon and some other stuff, that would be cool. So that is the Quiet Carry 9. Big shout out to Quiet Carry for that one. The next one, and I want to do a follow-up on this one at some point, is the Transparent Knives Reblade 80-20.5. And, there's not a whole lot to say. I've done a lot of videos on 20.5s, but this one's sort of different. It does have me kind of wanting to get an 80-20 again. I've been looking at the 20 Slims. So basically, it's a little bit of a bigger knife, 3.6-inch blade, and I guess the handle would be a little bit bigger, but it's the same, I believe, thickness as this, which is ideal, right? I don't want the full thickness 80-20. But they have some in the Peanut, which has this really cool hole with no stud, and that's really got me intrigued right now, but we'll see if I ever pick one up. This is honestly all I really need. My biggest gripe with this knife is just the blade to handle ratio, and that's not anything on Brian. It's literally just something you can't fix. You have to fit the blade into the handle, and the way this handle is designed, because it's designed for a clip point, you can only get so much in. Now, I guess he could have fit more in. So I guess I can give him a little bit of shit. He could have fit more in there. But he probably just measures it after the shark's foot blade that it comes with. No play, a little bit of up and down, but that's just the lock moving probably. It is dead nut centered, even though I question it all the time. It is. This is in MagnaCut. So CPM MagnaCut 64.7. Not the highest HRC I've seen from him. I've seen like 65.1, stuff like that. So technically this is soft, super soft MagnaCut, probably going to lose an edge real quick. But it might be tough, cause it's really soft and, yeah, so it's unfortunate. Did I want super high HRC? Yeah. But all I could get was 64.7. So I don't know. I might have to reach out to Brian and see what that was all about, but I'm just kidding. 64.7 is fantastic for MagnaCut as far as I understand. Makes it nice and hard. That's what she said, giggity. But it increases that edge retention and everything. And apparently MagnaCut gets tougher as it gets harder or something. I forget. But it's a really cool steel everybody's talking about. And he kind of has made a name on the Reblades with it for this knife. So I'm happy for that. And I'm glad I got one. It's cool. I have a few knives now in MagnaCut. It's not something I care about, honestly. I just want good knives. And it's fine if it's M390, 20CB. If it's a good knife and the price is right, 14C, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. But I like that it's very stainless. That's a good thing for me. I like this knife because I can carry it lefty. I like this sort of ribbed titanium, kind of barbed wiry rebar stuff. I just like the look of this overall, way better than the Grivery ones or G10 ones. They definitely did a good job with weight relief. So the milling on this is, well, there isn't any, but it's not heavy. So I guess there is milling on this side, but I expected milling on the inside for the weight, but that's awesome. Ergonomics, as usual, fantastic. I can get a nice choke up grip right here. I love this blade shape. Gives me sort of Buzz Stout vibes, which is obviously going to make me happy. For action, I just slow roll the thumb. I rarely flick the thumb unless I'm aiming like down, and then I can, get it. But if I'm aiming kind of up, you'll see there I fail it. And that's because the spring on this sucks. That's just the nature of the Shark Lock. I really want somebody to invent or make a stronger spring that fits this knife. That I just want to see what would happen if you did that. Like, having more spring tension would mean a stronger flick, right? I don't know. And it would be less prone to, coming out of the handle and stuff. So it'd be cool to see that. Or you know what would be awesome? You could utilize the Shark Lock, but put in magnets. So do a winter blade trick, right? So you could take this knife, you could take the magnet system right here, right? Implement that into this. I think that would work. I don't think the magnet up here really plays a part in the detent. I think it all comes in to play with this. So if you put those magnets in there, then that would obviously be stronger than the spring. So then you would have to fight those magnets, which would give you a detent, and you could fire this way stronger feeling. The only downside to it is you wouldn't have this. You wouldn't be able to, like, lock flick it out, I guess. Unless, maybe doing this somehow would release it. I don't know how that would work. But anyway, that would be a cool feature to have on this knife because it's really the downfall of the knife. But otherwise, it's such a good piece, especially with a reblade like this where you got 8 thou behind the edge or whatever on a hollow grind. It's like the perfect EDC. It's ergonomic as hell. I mean, Friday Night Gas Station grip is really good. Reverse Friday Night Gas Station, not so good. Draw cut is fine. And then your normal sort of hammer grip or whatever is good. And then choking up is good. I do have a lynch clip on here, so lefty with a satin finish on it. I did want to note, if anybody watches this, if you're left-handed and you have 80/20s or 20.5s, I'm not sure if they fit everything. But I have a few extras, so like, let me see. I might keep, I think I would keep this stonewashed one. But I have this one. I think it's called Pops Custom Clips or something. I have this one in like a heavy bead blast or stonewash. And then I have at least one of these black Cerakoted 20.5 clips. I don't know if they fit the 20s, but I think they do. I think I have 2 of those. Yeah, I have 2 of those. I believe they're both left-handed. Yep, they're both left-handed. So if anybody is watching this and you happen to need that clip, let me know. I think I'm going to keep this one, though. But I have 2 black Cerakote ones from Lynch, and then I have a Pops custom clip. If you hit me up and, you just want to, you can pay shipping and I'll send it to you. Whichever one you want. Just make sure you're left-handed. But yeah, I have the satin one. They also have a polished satin one, which I don't know. I guess that would just mean it doesn't have any of these lines in it. But I'm okay with the lines, even though they don't go the same way as this. I think it's fine. But honestly, I think the stonewash worked too because it kind of matched the tumble up here. I just thought satin made sense because it matched the hardware a little bit better. But yeah, I got to say, I love this thing. Brian killed it. It's It's like it happens every time. I kind of want another one, right? But then I would probably want another blade shape or something. And you know, the one he recently posted, I think it kind of had the peanut hole and it was like a spear point. Oof, man, that was nice. I definitely like the titanium, but the way he designed this hole or slot, it really works for me. You know, I was never the best at flicking the 20 for sure because it's just bigger, but the 20.5, I was fine with flicking it, but the stud was always there. And this one, man, I don't know what it is. It feels like a real detent. I can just fire it out. Yeah, I can fail it if I do the normal like detent thing I do, but like if I just flick it, it really fires. So this is a fantastic knife. It really is. So I'm very, very, very glad that I got one. So shout out to Brian, and I kind of want more. And that's the sign of me really liking a knife, is me wanting to get more of them. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be better to just get more of these than get the slim with the peanut or whatever? Because like then I'm gonna have the Demco blade, right? It's gonna have the stonewash or whatever. You know, I'll probably end up getting a regrind on that, which I guess would be fine. I don't know. It's just the whole thing. But that's all made in the US, which is kind of cool. But I just like this size really well. I just always wanted sort of a custom version of this size knife, and here it is. So I should be happy. I would love to have somebody make that spring. If anybody out there wants to give it a shot or like find something that fits it, that's got more tension, just something to try, I would love to test it out. But yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. The Demco 80-20.5 Reblade and Magna Cut from Brian over at Transparent Knives. The last one is going to be this Heretic Colossus. So this knife right here is pretty good, honestly. I got to say, for an OTF, which I'm not a big OTF guy, this is made really well. The spring is done really well. There's some things that I really don't like, but they're more of a my issue thing versus the knife, kind of, and we'll talk about it. So I hate the billboarding. That for sure is a big thing for me. Heretic Knives, Colossus, serial number 60, USA, right? And then on the blade, they did a great job. Like, all they put there was Magna Cut, CPM Magna Cut, and that's it. Thank you for not being like Microtech and putting it all over the blade, right? Things they did right. They used Torx for the hardware, so it's easy to take apart and clean. You have Torx on the back. You have a reversible clip. You can see here I have it set up for lefty, so if you fire it, the blade would be against the seam of my pants, which really doesn't matter with an OTF. You could carry the right-handed version like this, but I guess it's not great to have the switch against your pants because you might push it. I don't know. It's really hard to accidentally push this because sometimes it's hard to actuate it when you want to, you know? So I doubt you could put that. You have to put like consistent pressure into it. You don't just jam it forward. Like I did it there, but like you don't just like shove it forward. You have to like give it that tension, slide it. You know what I mean? I've never heard of anybody actuating one in their pocket, at least not a real OTF, like a good one or whatever. It has a deep carry clip, carries to the end. I mean, all you have sticking out is that little ball, which you can remove. I've thought about doing it, but honestly, it hasn't bothered me yet. It is technically, I guess, a glass breaker. It's just a little ball bearing or whatever on a spinner. This thing spins. It's pretty cool. It's actually held in by the clip. So if you remove the clip, this just falls out, which is how you can remove it. But then you just have a hole. So I don't know. That feels weird to me. So the clip is reversible, left hand, right hand, which is cool. You obviously have the hardware on this side where the clip would be. So it keeps this side really clean, which would be your show side if you carried it right-handed. You have sort of this skateboard tape stuff in here. Not my favorite. I would love to see like carbon fiber in there or something. Would be unique. Aluminum body. This comes in a version like this, all black with the bead blast accents or whatever they are. I think it's bead blast. You get a root beer version, which is like a brass or bronze color, sorry, with black, the same black inlays. That's the root beer version. And then you have one that has blue. So it's blue aluminum and then the black inlays. And I believe it's the same colored hardware. And the root beer one, I think, has black hardware. And I kind of wanted the root beer one, but I knew that it would not be like my style. And honestly, it accentuates the skateboard tape, which is ugly as hell to me. But I do think overall this is a good looking OTF. I love the sort of milling right here. It's got little details I like. Hate the billboarding there, but gotta live with it. As you can see, the blade or the tip is right up. I mean, it's right there. Every time I look at this thing sitting in my case or wherever, I'm like, damn, that's close. But you can't, like, really get in there. I mean, yeah, I can feel it maybe right there, but it's not even getting me there. And, you know, it's giving you that blade to handle ratio you're looking for, which is never going to be good on an OTF. You have a 3.5 or 3.6 inch blade here. We can measure it real quick. So you're looking at right there, tip. There, you're looking at 3.5 to here, 3.6 inch blade, and then you have a 5 inch handle. So usually with an OTF, you're looking at an inch and a half extra, you know, blade versus handle, because they have to fit the mechanism, the spring, like everything's got to fit in here. And then, you know, it's got to be able to work and everything. So it has to have enough tension on it. So getting that tip as close as you can is what keeps it from being an even longer handle. And I think that's part of why you get these sort of accents like this sometimes on OTFs, because they're trying to hide that tip, right? That helps them hide the tip in there. If they went straight across, the tip would be sticking out. So then they got to go up. They don't want to go even longer. So just kind of gives them design cues. My biggest gripe with this is the button, the switch. It is made for a right-handed person. I just don't get that because it's a reversible clip knife. I guess I'm just overthinking that. They just happen to make it reversible. They didn't make it to be ambidextrous, I guess. But you can see here the way this switch is designed. Your thumb is meant to ride like this, step up, and then you have that knurling you can grab and fire like this, right? Where left-handed, you can use that, but like you have to come at it from the side and use it. And it kind of works if you use it right. I've tended to just kind of climb up right onto that knurling and do this. And so that's why sometimes I end up going and I can't get it because I'm slipping through that because I'm not starting back here at the bottom of that pyramid, right? It makes it harder to depress. Where right-handed, you're always back there, and it makes it a lot easier. The switch has a pretty strong spring, but not obnoxiously strong. I think it's a good tension. If it was softer, I think it would feel weaker, and then you wouldn't have as much punch. And I think it really, when you close it, it really fires in. When you open it, it's gotten better. When I first got it, I swear it felt a little sluggish. And it definitely has a stronger pull in, closed, but it's definitely got a good punch. I think it has great action. One of the better actions I've felt from OTFs. And I think Microtech is like the big name, but this feels better than any Microtech I've had. Microtech's always had some kind of like rattly tings and stuff for me. Always had issues with maintenance on those where they would fail or whatever. Haven't had a failure on this once. Usually to maintain an OTF, what I do is I just put a tiny bit of very ultralight oil, like KPL Ultralight. You can pick that up at knifepivotlube.com. Use my code LeftyEDC, or you can use other stuff. Some people recommend REM oil or shit like that. But basically, I just put a couple drops like right here, on the blade on each side, and then fire it a few times, and that kind of gets that oil in there and whatever. If you watch Microtech's video on how to clean an OTF, they literally tell you to like spray in there with condensed air, like just hammer it with condensed air, then blast in REM oil, like just tons of REM oil in there, and then blast it again with the compressed air, and then open and close it a bunch of times. I've tried that like 8 different ways on Microtechs, and it always ends up making them worse. Like they end up with worse action where they fail a lot, and I don't know. So what I learned to do is just take it apart, clean the thing out after that, and then I would just put that little bit of oil there, and that would be enough to kind of work into the spring and get everything going. As long as you keep it maintained that way, right? Like once a month you do that if you carry it a lot. Now, I'm not going to carry this a lot probably, so I'm probably going to rarely do that or have to do that. So it comes down to how much you use it. But I really like this. I've gotten used to the switch being mostly right-handed. It kind of just works like this. It's not terrible. So I want to, rescind my hate for it a little bit. Overall, I think this is a fantastic OTF. I didn't think I would be like loving this, and I don't know if I love it, but I really like it. I think they did a great job. I cannot fault the quality. It is expensive. These go for, I believe, $460 new from eKnives. That's where I picked it up. You can check it out there. I'll link that below if I remember. But I believe they have dealers all over the place. And you can pick them up. I think I might look into other OTFs. We'll see. The main reason I picked one up was kind of as a token thing because my state, Pennsylvania, just repealed the ban on switchblades. So I just thought it would be cool to have one in the collection. I'm not a big fan of OTFs because, I don't know, this, even though it's fidget factor, it kind of, I don't know, it runs out for me. A bigger fan of that feeling than the OTF feeling. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get into it. So, cool knife. All right. So, there you go. That's the Heretic knives, Colossus, the Demco knives, 80-20.5, Reblade from Transparent Knives, the Quiet Carry 9, and the Gamer Star Studios, I believe, just prototype. So let me know what you guys think down below. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. And I will catch you later.